Inside the church, Yuan Kongye stood in front of the crucifix, clasped his hands calmly, and silently prayed. The shouts and gunshots from the outside world were clearly heard here. The faces of the believers hiding in the church were full of tension, but Yuan Kongye's face was still so peaceful. It seemed that everything in the outside world had nothing to do with her. Jo Care sat on a chair in the church with her medicine box next to her. Although she was not religious, she also prayed to the gods silently in her heart. God, if you really exist, please bless Zhang Yi and others to be safe. She crossed her hands and whispered. At this moment, a cold voice sounded above her head. Hello? Hello? Jo Care smiled and greeted, moving her eyes away from Yuan Kongye's gaze. Yuan Kongye looked at her deeply and suddenly said, Are you very distressed in your heart, feeling that you have no way to help your man? Jo Care's expression was slightly unnatural when her thoughts were exposed. She touched her neck and smiled. Maybe a little. I am a doctor and can only work in the rear. It is impossible for me to go to the battlefield with him. Yuan Kongye's seductive voice came. Perhaps you also have the potential to become a mutant. This sentence made Jo Care's heart beat. Mutant is the existence she is very eager to become. In the past, this feeling was not obvious, but since Yang Mi also awakened her superpowers, her desire for superpowers has become stronger and stronger. She had to think about it. Zhang Yi was always making progress, but what about her? Jo Care's thoughts were revealed by Yuan Kongye, which made her eyes flicker a little. But Zhang Yi had reminded her to be careful of the people of the snow worship cult, so Jo Care was rather indifferent to Yuan Kongye's words. Really? This is the first time I've heard someone say that. She smiled politely, but Yuan Kongye made an intimate move and reached out to touch her cheek. Don't underestimate your potential. Many times, all you lack is an opportunity. Believe in yourself. You have the potential to become a mutant. Jo Care's heart moved. Yes, she might also have the potential to become a mutant. Before, she thought that the conditions for becoming a mutant were more stringent, and she had to take her own life to try. Once she failed, she would die. She didn't have the courage to do that. However, the appearance of Ice Soul showed her a new way. Yuan Kongye stared at her, her clear and cold eyes carrying an inexplicable charm. When people saw her eyes, they would feel shocked by the powerful force and would unconsciously want to obey her orders. We really need power now. Your man also needs your help. Jo Care, I can make you a mutant. Are you willing to accept it? Yuan Kongye said. Jo Care's heartbeat quickened. She knew that the woman in front of her had the power to help others awaken their superpowers. But she also knew that, as Zhang Yi said, this woman was very mysterious and could not be easily trusted. Jo Care hesitated for only a few seconds, and her inner fluctuations subsided. Thank you. I don't really need it. Jo Care squinted her eyes and smiled faintly at Yuan Kongye. Seeing this, Yuan Kongye's eyes flashed with a hint of disappointment. It's okay. You can think about it slowly. Come to me when you change your mind. The blessing of God is an opportunity. Not everyone has the opportunity. After saying that, Yuan Kongye turned around and continued to pray. 20 minutes passed in a flash. The coalition forces fought and retreated. After each retreat, a large number of traps would be prepared, which were buried with incendiary materials and explosives, which could eliminate a large number of zombies. The defense circle is getting smaller and smaller, and the degree of reduction has reached 30%. Xiao Honglian gritted her teeth and contacted Bian Junwu. We can't hold on any longer. How are you? Bian Junwu said coldly. We are about to find the Corpse King. If you hold on for a while, there will be results soon. After receiving this news, the coalition forces held a glimmer of hope in their hearts and continued to hold on. However, Bian Junwu, who had ended the conversation, was still outside and did not go deep into the underground at all. Zhang Yi was on top of a tall building, and he killed almost all the bronze-armored zombies. This kind of powerful sniping ability makes people feel more terrifying the more they are on the battlefield. Liang Yue, Uncle Yu, and Fatty Shu are the special operations team, supporting everyone. Fortunately, the dragon roar in Liang Yue's hand is made of adamantium, Otherwise, the zombies would have been crushed long ago. At this time, Fatty Shu played a very huge role. His blizzard was a very strong ability with comprehensive abilities, especially strong control ability. Although it was not as strong as Wei Dinghai's Ice Lord and stealth attack ability. But in terms of control, Wei Dinghai was not even as good as him. This is the shortcoming of a ruler, the length of an inch. Relying on his own strength, Fatty Shu could cover the zombies within a radius of several kilometers with ice and snow, greatly slowing down their movement speed. This also created a good opportunity for others to kill zombies. Although Zhang Yi's team was small in number, they were very active on the battlefield, and the role they played was not inferior to any other team, and even better. In a blink of an eye, half an hour passed. Every minute and every second was a huge torment, which once made people feel desperate. But they had no way to retreat, so they turned into desperate men one by one and fought to the death with the zombies. In such a crazy battle, the attack of the zombies was slowly delayed. But these zombies and giant rats are extremely sensitive to the breath of living people. A small number of rats that passed through the defense line entered the hiding place of the snow worship believers. There are no armed personnel with strong combat effectiveness here. 3 or 4 rats can quickly slaughter the believers on an entire floor. Screams came one after another, and they struggled to run to the window and asked for help from the armed forces outside. Xiao Honglian and others turned a deaf ear to their cries for help, because they had no ability to split up to rescue, and it was difficult to protect themselves. Even Zhang Yixian and others could only lament, "Return to the kingdom of God," and then ignored them. At this moment, they were already struggling to block the zombies in front. If they split up their troops to take care of the scattered zombies behind, the entire line of defense would fall. Zhang Yi saw the dozen zombies that slipped in. He frowned slightly and hesitated for a moment, but still turned the muzzle and sniped them one by one. He didn't care much about the lives of the snow worship believers. But now, large-scale unrest in the rear is absolutely not allowed. If ordinary believers run around because of fear, it may affect the frontline combat team. However, the number of zombies breaking through the defense line is increasing, because the fight had already entered the stage of hand-to-hand combat. It's been 40 minutes. What's going on over there? Xiao Honglian and Xing Tian were a little anxious. They agreed to hold out for half an hour, so why are the zombies still attacking so fiercely? There are also a lot of zombies underground. You hold out for another 10 minutes, and we will soon get rid of them. Bian Junwu's cold voice made Xiao Honglian and others a little annoyed. But now, they can only choose to believe. As the battle circle continues to shrink, the areas where ordinary believers hide can only be abandoned. In fact, there is also an advantage in this. Zombies are all going for living people, and they are particularly sensitive to the breath of living people. And the places where a large number of believers gather attract most of the zombies to rush over. In this way, the pressure on the combat troops is greatly reduced. It can even be said that from the beginning, these people were bait in Bian Junwu's plan. Soon they became food for the zombies and rats. Just when Zhang Yi breathed a sigh of relief, thinking he could delay for a while longer, Flower next to him suddenly pricked up his ears alertly, whining and showing his sharp fangs. Zhang Yi held a sniper rifle in his hand and had been sniping enemies from all directions from a high position. In his opinion, any enemy who tried to get close would not escape his sight. But there was one direction that he overlooked. Meow! Flower beside him suddenly roared and then quickly grew larger, blocking Zhang Yi's body. Zhang Yi was a little surprised, not knowing why Flower had such a reaction, but he realized in less than half a second that someone must be approaching. Huh! A gust of wind passed over him, and Flower suddenly jumped up and rushed into the sky. Zhang Yi raised his head, and the scene in front of him made him shrink his pupils. Above the night, more than a dozen humanoid creatures with wings appeared. Their wings are as huge as bats, but their bodies are slender and long. It turned out to be more than a dozen bronze-armored corpses with wings. A new species? These things are hidden deep enough. Zhang Yi stared at the sky with sharp eyes. Flower had already pounced on a copper-armored flying corpse and then pressed it to the roof. The other flying corpses were already killing Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi calmly opened the huge dimensional door in front of him and then raised his gun, and shot. 2 flying corpses rushed into the dimensional door without any preparation, and 1 flying corpse was instantly sniped by Zhang Yi. Seeing this, the remaining flying corpses quickly circled in the sky. They were looking for an opportunity to get rid of Zhang Yi.